Hey guys, so I just wanted to say a couple things about the new movie American Sniper, and I'm actually going to do a big shout out to my friend Slappy Jones. That's his screen name that he goes by, and he writes for McFlugel.com. I'm going to link the article below. It's amazing. You should read it. And he points out a perspective that I haven't seen floating online a whole lot, but actually I talked about this with my husband. He agreed it's kind of an anti-war film. If you have a brain and you're looking at things skeptically and you take off your blinders of patriotism and you're able to kind of dissect what's going on in the movie, it has a lot of anti-war themes. And we know that Clint Eastwood is kind of a libertarian. He said he's been against the war in Afghanistan for a while now. And it really doesn't surprise me that he would make an artistic movie that everybody just fucks up the meaning of. like everyone just hears the, Chris Kyle, like, oh, America, this is the greatest country on earth, and like the tribute at the end, everyone just takes that and turns it into their own story of, yeah, I want to kill the bad guys too, let me go get those towel heads. Excuse my language, but I mean, that's how people are talking about this movie on Twitter and other places on the internet, and it's really upsetting because yeah, I know that a lot of my students might be thinking the same way without being able to look at things critically and, past the indoctrination that they grew up with from schools and the media, parents, community, everything. So I think that was great that Slappy Jones brought up that it was an anti-war movie. I was thinking that too. I made a lot of notes on my phone during the movie. His buddies in the war, they said a couple things and they wrote a couple things that demonstrated their skepticism. He had a conversation in the tent with one of his friends. I tried to look up names and specific quotes, but I just could not find them on the internet and it was just taking too long. But the friend didn't want to go back out there and he said something like, I'm just trying to believe in what we're fighting for. And Kyle gave him kind of a look. So his friend was disenchanted while being over there. His other friend who died in combat and he wasn't able to save, he wrote a long letter to his family, and in the letter he said a bunch of anti-war sentiments, and Chris Kyle even said something to his wife about the letter on the drive home from the funeral about I wish I could remember the quote. If anyone can remember, please post it below. He said something along the lines of, the only thing that killed my friend, I forget his name, was him not believing in the war or something like that. Like, it wasn't exactly that, but it was something way better and more profound. But, you could see that Chris Kyle has his blinders on, even though two of his friends expressed that they weren't fully backing what they were doing or they didn't believe in it. Also, another character that was visibly shaken, physically torn up, it looked like he saw ghosts, was Chris Kyle's brother. He enlisted, he was in the Marines, and he just came back from his first tour of duty, and you could tell he couldn't form words. He was literally rattled. It looked like he just was completely torn up inside, and his brother barely recognized him on the field when they crossed paths. So that's another person who wasn't gung-ho, rah-rah, military, let's go kill him. And just so many characters in the movie were like that. His wife said that this war is changing you. If you don't think that you're changed, you're wrong. You have a family over here. You need to come back and be with us. So the wife, was disenchanted with the war, and it just kind of shows how war can rip apart families. It shows a lot of aspects of PTSD. He comes back and has to deal with that. He comes back from his fourth tour of duty, and instead of going right home, he goes to the bar to decompress. So that's a part of his PTSD. He meets a lot of people in the movie that he tries to help later, so that's kind of a good thing, that have missing arms and legs, and they have awful stories that they like to talk about to kind of, get it off their chest and cope with it. So it does highlight PTSD. I wish it would would highlight more of that. I wish it would highlight more of the other side of what was happening in Iraq, a lot of the killing raids that took out civilians, more women, more children, and I wish they would show that perspective more. It is an immoral war. We went over there under false premises of weapons of mass destruction that did not prove to be over there. George Bush even laughed about it at some fancy event.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here.
Everyone over there, you shouldn't have been over there. And to call everyone a hero is just a fallacy, I think. And part of it is getting sucked into the indoctrination. Like you saw in the movie, Chris Kyle, when he was a young boy, he was kind of raised to think that he's a sheepdog, and that's a really powerful analogy in the film too. Like the wolf preys on people and bullies people. The sheep just kind of takes it and doesn't know how to stand up for themselves. The sheepdog goes in, pushes off the wolf, and defends the sheep, fights off the wolf or whatever. And that's what the sheepdog does. And that's what Chris Kyle grew up believing that was his mission to do. And in that way, I think that he's a victim along with a lot of other Americans that are raised to think that this is a good thing and a noble thing, and you're going to come back and be praised as heroes, and you're fighting for a worthy cause, and you're fighting for our freedom. I mean, when I post anything about this movie or Chris Kyle the person, you should see the amount of resistance I get back, and it's all the same lines, one-liners, like, I can't even begin to go over some of them. I've been called lots of names too. My character has been attacked. So, I mean, but Chris Kyle like kind of fell into that victim hole where he believes all that, and you could see it in the movie. He's just relentless. America, like, I'm doing this for our freedom. I'm fighting to protect our military men and everything. And I think that that's kind of sad that he grew up thinking that way. And he was not able to, in the end, at the end of his fourth tour, in the movie at least, he was able to kind of say, I want to go home now. And he realizes that there is going to be no winner to this war. And that's not how Chris Kyle was in real life, but that's how the character is in the movie. So I could definitely sympathize with the Bradley Cooper character more than I can with Chris Kyle in real life, because the disconnect between those two entities, the real person and the character, they're not very similar. I'll post a couple articles below for all the lies that Chris Kyle has told and how dissimilar that they really are, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, there's a whole lot of anti-war themes in the movie, and I'm glad that my friend was able to write a really thought-provoking article about that, so definitely check it out. And also, the other aspect of victimhood, he was killed by someone that had PTSD. So I think that, there's so many people, like he was killed by war, like by an effect of war in the end, which just goes to show you, like, so many people die from the war and they're not even over there in combat. They come back home and they have these visions and they have these things that they have to deal with. They can't adapt back to normal life, and a lot of them end up killing themselves. So I think that that's really sad that's how he still ended up dying because of war, because of a victim that was suffering from PTSD. He himself was. And like I said, I really wish they would have focused more on that on the movie. But yeah, so those are my thoughts in a nutshell. I can make this a lot longer, but I'm going to stop there. I probably forgot a lot of points. Definitely let me know what you think below in the comments if you saw the movie. Or if you've been reading the articles and posts and everything, looking at the memes. There's been a couple interesting ones. This one's my favorite. But yeah, let me know what you think below, and I will talk to you guys later.